All right, had some technical difficulties. We're here live with me and John Signorella, KO Nation podcast, with Joseph Brown. Just want to, just introduce yourself briefly. It's a pro boxer. He's 2-0, but just introduce yourself briefly. I know I wanted to give you a great introduction, but I think you probably are the best at introducing yourself.
Oh yeah, my name is Joseph Brown. I'm 17. Currently a pro boxer, 2-0, two knockouts. Signed with Floyd Mayweather. Um, as an amateur, I went 67-0 in all the different combat sports. Boxing, kickboxing, Muay Thai. I won six national titles and a world championship too. So yeah.
Word,
Well,
word.
that is an amazing accomplishment and resume that you have there, Mr. Joseph Brown. Very intriguing. Everything about you, number one, all the combat sports that you're involved in speaks for itself right there. Muay Thai, if I'm not mistaken, kickboxing, boxing traditional, and what other disciplines have you studied?
I did Taekwondo too, Jiu-Jitsu as well when I was younger. I still do it now. I did everything. I did everything growing up.
So you have like a bunch of, I'd say 1,000 different ways to neutralize a situation if you had to. Definitely a couple different ways to put a you-know-what on someone. Do you have a preferred, obviously boxing is what you chose as a profession. Is there a certain discipline that you gravitated towards first, or one that you really feel that you identify with the most that led you into boxing?
I don't think there's anyone in particular because I started everything around the same time, and as I got older, I just kind of singled out boxing as my favorite.
Okay, so generally boxing's your favorite. What other? Oh, I think he jumped out. Let's see if we can get him back for a second. Okay.
There he is.
Sorry about that. What I was going to ask you is, what other combat sports do you did you practice along with boxing? Could you kind of go into that?
Yeah, I did Taekwondo, kickboxing, Muay Thai, Jiu-Jitsu as well. I did all that growing up.
What age did you start at, and what made you want to get into combat sports? Because with that type of resume and that kind of background, for sure, there had to be initial passion that got you into it. So you have to be really intense about it to do that many different styles. So what brought that on? Was there a family member that boxed?
Yeah, my dad, he did martial arts his whole life, and he been, teaching me how to fight since I was born. I think I started in karate school when I was 3. And then I did that for a little bit, and then I started in a boxing gym around 6, and then that's when I joined everything else after. So Taekwondo was shortly after, and kickboxing, and then ever since then, I've been going at it.
So when was the first time you actually laced up gloves and got in there and got your hands dirty a little bit, and you actually started competing and sparring and stuff?
My first competition was when I was 8 years old. But I mean, I've been sparring since I started.
That's why I had to ask, because if you got all those fights under your resume, which I know you do, and a lot of different championships in each, again, specific skill set, that you had to start really early cleaning up titles, just collecting belts all over the place, right?
Yeah.
Man, the people going grocery shopping, you're just stopping up locations and picking up belts. That's amazing. So 8 years old, you're out there, you're sparring. What was it like to get in there at such a young age and get hit?
My dad always taught me defense since I first started. So yeah, it was hit and not get hit. I learned how to slip before I learned how to punch. So that's been my whole thing.
And that was what was the first combat sport that you started in? Was boxing the first, or?
It was some type of karate when I was 3.
Oh, you said, wow, that's unbelievable. I mean, that's you kind of have more experience than a lot of pros by now. So I mean, that's pretty impressive. So obviously, like your father, him being a former fighter, obviously he's got to be a mentor to you. Is there anybody else that you would consider mentors to your fighting career and background?
I say definitely Floyd Mayweather. He's helped me a lot since I met him, and then obviously signed with him. He's given me a lot of advice in and outside the ring, so it's definitely someone that I look up to.
Absolutely. And his work ethic, as we know, is second to none. And that's amazing to be around someone. Speaking about longevity, I mean, I hear stories. We just had Jeff on the show, and shout out to Jeff and the Mayweather family about, Floyd running around the streets at a very young age, just jogging. And everyone's like, who's that kid running around town starting at a young age? And he's been like that from the jump and keeping himself fit all the time. Floyd's always in shape, as you know, and you look great. Your conditioning, again, is – tell us a little bit about your routine, if you don't mind, because you look like you're at it every single day. So I'm pretty sure you start very early in the morning. About what time in the morning do you wake up, if you don't mind me asking?
I mean, it depends on what I got going on. I usually train like 6 days a week, 2 to 3 times a day.
There you go.
Yeah, so my days of training get pretty long. They go up to like 6-7 hours sometimes. Just always been training. I've been like that since I started. Like since I was a kid, I worked just as much as I do now.
That's what it takes. And that's why I mentioned Floyd, because that's what people I always talked about Floyd, is that he's always in shape and he's always ready because he knows the business of the game. And the fact that you're doing 3 shifts, so you got a morning, afternoon, and evening, 6 days a week, 6 to 7 hours, that's a full-time job.
Yeah.
So, but when you train in a boxing gym, it's not like you're sitting at an office where you get breaks and all this type of stuff. You working like all day long, with your rests in between and stuff like that. So hats off, man. Definitely on the right track. So you got a big assignment coming up. Kev, he's got a big assignment coming up. What have you seen about that card, Kev, with Mayweather coming up?
I'm not too familiar with the card, but Joseph, just let us know. You have a fight coming up this weekend, I believe, on the undercard of Floyd Mayweather and John Gotti III. Can you tell us about that fight? Do you know anything about your opponent? Probably don't, I'm assuming, but just let us know, like, the progress, you training for this fight, and just anything you want to let anybody know out there about the preparation.
Yeah, I mean, my training camps have gone amazing. I'm super happy with it. Fighting some Mexican guy from down there, but I mean, it don't matter. I prepare for whatever's to come. I made sure I prepared well during my training camp, so whatever comes to me on fight night, I'm gonna be ready for it. So it's gonna be a good show.
And you're fighting currently at 154 pounds or somewhere around that range. What are you gonna weigh on weighing in at the weigh-in?
I think we're doing a catch weight at like 57 or 58 or something like that. So that's what I'll be coming in at. But yeah, right now I'm a 54 pounder.
And you're 17 years old. I wanted to just ask you: are you still in school? Are you in high school, or did you graduate, or are you homeschooled? How is it kind of juggling school and being a pro fighter at the same time?
Yeah, just finishing up, and I've been homeschooled for a while. I started homeschooling in like 8th grade, just because that's when I started getting really busy with my competition and traveling to different places. So that's how I've been able to manage school and boxing this whole time.
And when you came up, starting with the boxing, you said you were at a gym at an early age. So you were networking with people really fast. They had to notice something very special in you. For example, again, all the disciplines. That's so intriguing, again, because I love mixed martial arts and boxing. Boxing is my number one passion, but I love Taekwondo. I studied Jiu-Jitsu, Shinru, a bunch of different styles. Big fan. What got me in was watching martial arts movies. You actually went in there and you paid the dues from a very early age. It took me a while to find the gym. So what I'm getting at is, at what point did you cross paths with people like Floyd Mayweather and great influencers that you're around all the time that took notice of you and said, "Hey, son, you're special. We want to work with you"?
I say just from working hard and stuff like that, your name, you build your name like that, and it starts getting buzz, and people start talking about you. But as far as me meeting like Jeff and Floyd, my dad had became friends with Jeff Mayweather first. And then I think they were talking like for about a year or two, and then eventually I went down to Las Vegas to go train with him for the first time, and I think I was like 14, and that's how we started training. And then from me being in the gym, I ran into Floyd, and that's how we started talking, and here I am today.
That's amazing.
And who anybody notable? What's a day at the gym like? Days that you're sparring. Could you go into that a little bit?
Like what a day of sparring would look like, or who I'm
Yeah.
sparring. Well, I like to switch up my sparring partners a lot. Get different looks. I've sparred with a lot of great people. I sparred been in the ring with Jaron Ennis,
Wow.
Chris Eubanks, Brian Norman, Rolly, Andy Cruz.
Yeah.
I've been with a lot of great people.
That's fantastic, man.
And is there anything these guys tell you about like I don't want you to necessarily give away all your tactics and stuff, but just think of something inspirational with some of these guys, because I mean these are great fighters that you're working with, and obviously for them to be working with you, you have a ton of potential. What things are you learning from these fighters?
I mean, every fighter's got like their own thing that they're super good at. So, I kind of, nobody's like the same, but I pick out certain things that each fighter does very well to kind of just keep in the back of my head, especially after sparring. I'll ask them like, how do you do this? Or what did you think of that?
Mm-hmm.
And, kind of keep that and then work on it.
Now, as far as influences go, you mentioned Floyd. In every boxing career, whether it's Floyd's or your own, you might have had already, and I'm sure you're going to have plenty of them. There's a defining moment. There's a moment like I talked about when I was watching martial arts movies that was motivating to get me to want to do combat sports. This is far from a movie. This is reality. A defining moment in reality. Was there anything ever in boxing that you saw where it was like, man, I want to be like that. I want to do that. I want to achieve that. For me, it was when Holyfield, lost to Riddick Bowe, but it was a big accomplishment because he went through so much adversity, gave me motivation. That's, to strive to be great. So I'm sure you've had a moment where you're like, I want that for my life and I want to achieve that and even do better maybe. Is there any moment that was a very big, inspiring moment that a boxer has done that you were like, man, I want to do that?
I can't say like anything is specific, but I think just watching fights when I was like a real little kid and seeing all those big boxers like Floyd or Andre Ward is someone that I used to watch a lot too, and Roy Jones, like winning their fights and like being like world champion, like pound for pound the best. That's kind of those type of fights kind of inspired me to be like, I want to do that one day.
See, Roy was so special, and especially when he was feeling himself real good, you still like cock his arm with the gun and like do his things. He was such a great one-of-a-kind fighter. So you're mentioning all the right guys, man. So your style, I would imagine, is very defense-friendly, and offense. I could tell by looking at your shoulders, I could tell what you're designed for. So tell me about some of, if you don't mind me saying, what are some of your punches? I kind of have an idea, but I wouldn't mind having you share that with us if you don't mind.
I mean, like, I'm tall for my weight class, so I like to use my range, like my jab, my straight punches. I say like my favorite punch is like my left hook to the body. That's one like I don't like just go spam it, but like when it does land, that's like the money shot.
It's liver.
Yeah,
man. Yeah. That's a good shot. And come through an uppercut like Tyson used to do. Speaking of Tyson, don't you have a record tied with Mike Tyson for like a fastest knockout somewhere?
Yeah, my first boxing match was the second fastest knockout in amateur boxing. It was 10 seconds, and I think Mike's record was like 8 seconds.
Wow.
So you knew it when you hit it. It's like hitting a baseball of sort. You kind of know you got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how old were you when that achievement occurred?
I just turned 11. It was like the day after I turned 11.
Wow. So when did you like realize that you had some great potential? Like you're like, man, I think I got something here with the confidence, because it takes a lot of confidence to get there and also be balanced. You seem perfect. I think that's where the martial arts comes, because you're so like calm and very balanced, it seems. So you take a page from that martial arts book very seriously, I can tell, right?
Yeah, for sure. I'd say like Probably after like my first national title is when I really realized, okay, like I'm actually good at this. I won nationals now, best in the country. Like I think we can go far with this.
Yeah.
You see me because I'm excitable. I'm like cheering for you at 11 years old. A lot of kids would be like, yeah, take that, woo, partying. I can see you calm. Like, and to say that casually, that's an amazing accomplishment. So good for you, man. It's so refreshing to see that. That's excellent.
Thank you. Thank you.
And so obviously, we can tell that you're very dedicated to your craft and whatnot. Obviously, you like it, but what are the things you dislike? Well, actually, what's the things you like the most about boxing, and what things do you dislike the most about boxing? Because obviously, I mean, it's a tough sport to be involved in. So definitely would like to know that. There's ups and downs, I'm sure.
I like the thinking aspect of boxing. Boxing is like really a chess game. And the people that are the smartest are always end up being the best. So that I think that's one thing that I really love about boxing. As far as like dislikes, I just say maybe just the politics in boxing is pretty bad. So I say that's probably the only thing I don't really like about it.
You fight the way you do, you don't have to worry about judges, that's for sure.
Yeah.
They can stay home. Seriously, man, that's very impressive. I can't get over the fact because it takes a lot to do a lot of different disciplines. Do you ever get like caught up and thinking to yourself, like, wait, which one am I not allowed to do here? Because you do so many. Like, oh, this is the one I can't throw someone, or this is the one I can only do this. Does that ever happen?
No, honestly, I've been doing it for so long. I know how to distinguish each one of them. So, like I said, I grew up doing this, so it's not it don't get confusing for me.
Do you follow any like Bruce Lee philosophies or any of that kind of stuff?
Yeah. Basically everything my dad taught me is like something from Bruce Lee. My dad's like a Bruce Lee fanatic. So
yes, all right, of course.
I love Bruce Lee. I mean, there's this pretty good television show from China that's on his life, and I mean, you got to watch it with subtitles, but I mean, it's pretty great. It's awesome.
There's a show called Warrior on Netflix that's pretty cool too. It's based a lot on an influence of Bruce Lee. I'm sorry, Kev, go ahead.
So I was speaking to your dad earlier. And I know obviously you said earlier, boxing's your favorite sport, but you do have aspirations in MMA. Is that something that's going to be just kind of put on the back burner? Or like, what's your short-term, long-term goals in regards to boxing and being involved in other mixed martial arts? Are you just going to mostly just focus on boxing at this time?
I'd say short term, yeah. I mean, I still train in MMA though, and I'm still gonna, keep training because I'm just a mixed martial artist for life. But ultimate goal would be the first male to be like a boxing world champion and then cross over to MMA and win a title there.
That is fantastic. You know what? The fact of the matter is that you started at such a young age. I mean, you're honestly the poster child for it, man. Like boxing, taekwondo, Muay Thai is that's brutal. I remember when I got in, they grabbed the back of your neck and they started kneeing you and stuff like that. I checked out right there. That's why I was like, that's enough for me. But so,
you did taekwondo too, correct? Weren't you a black belt or something like that, or was it a different sport? I'm thinking of?
Yeah, I was, and a national champion in it too.
Okay.
Wow.
And Johnny Fig, do you train in taekwondo? I was just curious.
Yes, I'm trained to taekwondo. That was my first discipline. I got into it at a young age, not as young as you. I was a freshman in high school, and I took it far to black belt, but nowhere near the level of you. And it's just incredible what you were able to do with that, especially with the tournament circuit in taekwondo is very, very legit, man. It's hard. Everybody that shows up to those things are world class. They're competitors, man. It takes a lot to get to those elite levels. So congratulations on that as well, man.
Thank you.
And you've been, you've had so many titles in your amateur career. Can you name some interesting places that you've been to, and any places you'd want to kind of acknowledge that interesting places in the world that you've been to and you competed in?
I say it was my first pro fight. It was in Colombia. It was in Santa Marta. I loved it there. It was super super nice. That was probably my favorite, one of my favorite places that I've been to.
And you're based out of currently. Just wanted to add. Where are you living currently in British Columbia?
Yeah. Yes.
And what's that like living there? The experience.
It's super nice. I love the scenery here. It's super like, there's mountains everywhere, a lot of nature. So I love it. And then the boxing is pretty good here too. So yeah, I like it here.
Outside of the ring, what do you like to do? What kind of music do you like? That sort of thing.
I like gospel music. Outside of the ring, honestly, I don't even do much. Like I said, because my training days are so long, when I get home, I'm just trying to like sleep so I can recover or get ready for the next workout. I play video games sometimes, but
what game you playing?
I like Call of Duty.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm terrible at those games. I don't even know. I run around and I look like all crazy, shooting everybody.
I'm still playing Xbox 360, so go figure, huh?
100%. What about so other hobbies outside of the ring? Obviously, martial arts is a big one. It's passion more so. It's a lifestyle with the boxing too as well. Video games a little bit. You do anything else? You into like bike riding, anything like that? Fishing?
Not too much. I mean, all that stuff is cool, which I like doing. I just don't I rarely ever do it. I really have time to do it.
You seem like you're super dedicated to the sport of just your craft. And it's funny because I remember John was telling me about an interview he did with Amanda Serrano, and it kind of sounds like similar, like she is that's her love. Like everything about her is boxing. And you could try to ask her about other stuff, but I mean, she really loves the sport, and you kind of see the results with Amanda Serrano. I mean, she's probably one of the best women's fighters of all time. And if you love what you do and you spend all your time doing it, I mean, it's like you're perfecting, your craft. And I mean, it's good to hear. It's refreshing to hear that you don't seem like you have any bad habits. You got a good head on your shoulders. Your dad seems like he's behind you 1,000%. So actually, I just wanted to hear a couple of things from your dad, just about you, like what he could say. Is he there with you, or?
Yeah, he's here.
Thank you for your time, Joseph. Hello, sir.
How's it going, guys?
Appreciate your time today, sir. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem.
Anything you just wanted to add about your son, the experience training your son, and just his dedication to the sport? What's that been like? Just seeing the progression from him being almost out of the crib, shadow boxing up until now.
I was trying to think back. He probably didn't detail a lot of things for you as I would, but just off the top, you asked him about his education, and Joseph's kind of like, he's not a person that, he's very humble, and he might not mention certain things because this is one to appear arrogant, but he's been a straight A honor roll student since the first grade. And, education is very important, especially in his generation. It's good for him to spread the message because, I mean, 1 in a million people make it to that Floyd level or the elite level, or actually, become a champion and actually make money and make a career out of this. So, I like him to let everyone know that education is important, and he does well in school as well as he does anywhere else. Because, I would like him to also have a second career, go to college, and, have something to fall back on. So that's a very important thing for me to share with everyone.
That's an excellent share right there. What area of interest outside, if there is any, of boxing right now? Because I know Jeff does graphic arts. We were talking about that in our interview. He does graphic arts. I'm a musician. Boxing wasn't for me. You can probably tell by the look at my face. I got hit way too many times. So stick with that defense, bro, for real. But if there's any field otherwise, sure, go for it, man. It's always good to have every plan covered. That's what it's all about.
Mm-hmm. As far as the training aspect, he's been committed, dedicated since, I would say, around the age of 6, or maybe I say around 7, because I put him in Shotokan karate when he was 3. Wow. Did that for a bit, but he was a little distracted at that young age. So I pulled him out and just trained him at home myself. And right around, I say, the age of 7, he's joined his first boxing gym, like right around 7. Simultaneously, I put him in Muay Thai and kickboxing. And then when he was 8, I put him in Taekwondo. I was a black belt in Taekwondo. So I had been training him all along. Yeah. And when he started in Taekwondo, he literally, and you were a Taekwondo fighter, so it takes 3 to 4 years to get your black belt. He did it in 11 months. So he went from white belt to black belt in less than a year, literally 11 months. And his first competition was a state championship, which he won as a blue belt. He got the gold. And 2 months after he got his black belt, he fought in the state championship and won gold for that. And 4 months later, which is 6 months after he got his black belt, he fought in the national championships, represented British Columbia, and he won nationals. I think he was around 9.5, something like that at that time.
I'm so glad I got that information. That's amazing. Your history as a martial artist is incredible. I knew it had to come from somewhere, and it makes perfect sense. It's all connecting and tremendous. I mean, you being seeing your passing it on to your son, that's got to be a wonderful feeling, right? I mean, that's without question. That's excellent, man. It's wonderful. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah,
no problem. It feels really good because I started when I was 7. And I've never really stopped training. Even now, I still train with him.
I could tell.
I'm 55 now, and it stayed with me. But I was talented, like Joseph. If you check out my Facebook, you'll see we used to have backyard brawls in Miami where I grew up, and I had over 100 fights. I never lost, and in any competition, I never lost. But I didn't have that father figure in my life, and I grew up poor with a single mom, so the opportunities. I wasn't able to capitalize on opportunities because I had to start working young. But a lot of times I didn't even get a chance to train properly. I would just go fight and win.
Yeah.
So to be able to be here for him now, and him being even more talented than I was, right? And to be able to pass everything on to him, and just to be honest, I always wondered, how would my style have done? Because everybody I sparred and fought a lot of champions from different styles, and I was always able to beat them, but I never really got the opportunity to get in the ring and get on a world stage and see what I had done all those years, if it actually would have worked on a global level on a world stage. And
That's
see
beautiful.
Joseph actually do it. It lets me know, wow, my style. I'm like the original Terminator, and he's the new and improved, man. Like everything was improved with him. I took out all the mistakes I made over the years that I learned, and I put all the things that actually work, because we have the same type of body type. And like you were saying, I have a Bruce Lee. I grew up on Bruce Lee, Muhammad Ali, Sugar Ray Leonard.
Nice.
That was my style with a little bit of Tommy Hearns mixed in. So what I did was I gave him that. But what I said was, okay, I got to create a better defense for him. So I started studying Pernell Whitaker and Floyd Mayweather. And I taught him that first. And then I added all the other ones after.
You started with the defense first and then went to the offense.
I absolutely love this.
For 3 weeks when I started training him, the boxing side of things, for 3 weeks, he wasn't allowed to throw a punch. He could only slip. And I trained with him every day, just slipping punches, moving, ducking, sitting, leaning back. And once he learned I knew instinctually he would always go to the foundation first. So I said, let me make him a defensive master first. Then we start learning how to throw punches.
It's amazing. I just would love to see you guys at work. Any opportunity I could ever have, I would love to see it. I'm a fan already. I had been prior to this. Now it's like I could picture it. Everyone you named, it is Terminator style. And I love what you said about learning from your mistakes. I just been doing stuff in my life, and it works, manifesting, correcting things, course correcting, believing, putting this piece there, missing there, insert there. Don't put that one there, but move that over there. That sort of thing. And trial and error. And all your successes are becoming equal successes and even greater. Look how wonderful this is, living through your son's eyes and passing this on, man. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Very inspiring. I'm going to hit the gym right after this interview. I swear, man, because Kevin will tell you I got energy for days, but now I'm fired up here. And Tommy Hearns, you throw that Tommy Hearns shot in there, forget about it, man.
Definitely. That long jab and that right hand.
Yeah, dude, the one that did Duran, forget it. I can see it in the shoulders. I know he's got it there.
If you ask
So
anybody
I don't
from me
want I
back
don't
in
want
the
to
day,
put you
mhm.
on the spot too much, but what's the most difficult thing about training your son? Because obviously it's not going to be perfect every day. You know, sometimes he might be having a bad day at the gym or whatnot. What's the most difficult thing about training your son? Because you know he's also you're training him and he's a fighter, but he's also your son. So what's that like?
Old age. That's my worst enemy, old age, man. To be able to do, if I was in my 30s, even in my 30s again, I wouldn't even need a gym. I wouldn't even need sparring partners. I'd just do it all myself. But once you get in the 50s, man, things kind of change. The bones hurt a little bit. A lot of times I got to wrap up my knees and put a back brace, do whatever I have to get the work in. But I mean, there's times when I put in 20, 25 rounds with him of training, put on the gloves, put on the coach's vest, and we just go to it for a couple hours at a time. And I think the worst part is the recovery. I gotta try to recover. As you get older, recovery is a little longer, right?
Yes, sir.
So the recovery, but there was a time where the father hat and the trainer hat kind of like were, bucking against each other. And I would have to sit, because it's kind of difficult when you're being dad and then when you're being coach, because you're trying to be dad, hang out, have fun, do stuff, but then you have to be coach. And that's a serious side of me that I got to make sure he doesn't get hurt, because fighters die in the ring. So I take that side very serious. So I might yell at him or raise my voice. And it took me a while to get him to understand, hey, man, you're not in trouble. You're not in trouble like when you went and did something, you didn't do your chores for the 100th time. And I got mad about it and got serious. It's not that when I'm coach. When I'm coach, it's just because I understand the seriousness of the matter. And I need you to be perfect in this, because just like, for instance, where you keep your right hand, I'm not saying you got to keep it way up here, but don't put it down here either, so you don't have time to do this if a left hook comes. Keep it in the proper place, and it's got to be the perfect spot. It can't be off by an inch or 2 inches. That could mean the end of your career or your life. So I'm serious about these things. So it was kind of like trying to find that balance between father and coach. But as he got older, Joseph now understands that I got to take off daddy hat and put on coach hat. When I put on coach hat, bro, I'm just a coach. I'm just here to do this. When I take that off, we can go hit the movies or do something fun.
Yes, sir.
Now we have a clear understanding, and the relationship has been great.
That's great, man. Wonderful.
And,
Thank you for sharing your time with us in that.
yeah.
No problem.
If people want to get in touch with Joseph, where can they find you guys at? You guys on social media? We think you have a great future, but we want people to know about you. We want to spread the word. So where can people get in touch with you, Joseph?
Yeah, all my social media handles is Real Joseph Brown.
Thank you so much, Joseph.
What's your favorite platform to actually be on? Is that Instagram or?
Yeah, Instagram or TikTok, YouTube, Twitter. Yeah.
And we'll put the links in the description for everyone.
Yeah, of course. Anything else you guys want to add before we get going?
Thank you guys very much for taking the time, man. Shout out to Floyd Mayweather, who reached out, and Joseph's the youngest fighter that Floyd has ever signed, and we appreciate the opportunity to showcase his talent. To God be the glory. We always lift him up, keep him first in our life, in our home. And, hopefully Joseph could be a good example to his generation. Lots of kids out there, especially coming out of COVID, are suffering from depression and, a lot of anxiety and stuff. These young people in today's time, you guys aren't as old as I am, but if you remember growing up, life wasn't so hard as a kid. It was more simple.
Sir.
Have fun, ride bikes, climb trees, hang out with your friends, and life. Now these kids have all this pressure on them with everything that's going on in the world. So I'm hoping that he can make a change in his generation and, just help these kids get through some of the tough times they're facing now.
100%. I'm a music teacher. I got students that range anywhere from 6 years old all the way up to 70. And the majority of my clients are about his age, anywhere between 15 to 19 years old. And any kind of thing that you could do that's positive like this. Now, the drums, I teach the drums. We hit them, they don't hit us back. So it's not as difficult. But at the same, that's why I became a drummer, because boxing, I wasn't as good nearly as you, Joseph. You have a very bright future, my man. But it's always good to have things that are positive. And like you were saying right there, in these crazy times that we live in, it's great that kids can see you, Joseph. They'll hear this interview. A lot of my students will, and they'll be all about asking questions about where does he train? When can I watch him fight? What's his dad about? Does he take clients? Because what's great is that you're influencing people a lot, especially at your age. And we need that more for people your age. And you're out there, you're fighting a good fight for everyone that's a teenager or a young man like yourself going into your 20s at an eventual quick point. That will happen very fast for you. So we appreciate everything that you're doing. I speak for everyone when I say that. Keep rocking, brother.
And just one last question for everybody out there. Message for anyone that wants to get involved in the fight game. What message would you give them? What advice?
It's never too late to start. It's never too late to start. If you work hard, and then you'll definitely go wherever you want to go. You just got to work hard.
Love it. Absolutely.
Well, perfect. So just wanted to say, just thank you so much for being on. And I really look forward to, getting to see you guys and chatting with you guys in person next time you're, in Las Vegas. Me and Johnny Signorello, we're both live in Las Vegas. So we'll definitely hope to be in touch with you soon. And we just want to wish you, a safe trip to Mexico, and the best of luck when you fight this weekend, and that you pick up a victory and come out safe, and that's what we're looking forward to. So
yeah, of course. Thank you guys.
Thank you guys.
Thank you so much. Have a great day, guys.
Take care.
Yeah, you too.